The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get
He
very
missed the
close.
pit complete. That is crazy
Side by
stuff.
side, Freitas is on the grass on the infield for 4. He slides through, he tags Richard Neagle.
Round 1 in the Formula Neagle Cup saw the rising star of Tuan Tran challenging resident hot shoe Robin Rosenvinge. But the skill set of the drivers will need to be versatile as they've switched from the long lap times and high speeds of Spa for the technical and tricky corners of Silverstone's international circuit. We expect some fascinating tactical battles will unfold as we get ready to watch Round 2 in the Formula Neagle Cup live on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak. With me in the booth today is Richard Losper. Behind the scenes is our director Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Richard, Silverstone set us up with a stunning climax to last season, but this time it's switched to very early in the schedule. Not only that, but we're at a completely different version this time. Tell us about the layout that they're racing in Season 6.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, folks. Yes, this is the international circuit that we're on here, 2.249 miles or 3.619 kilometers, 10 turns. And of course, it is completely different from either the GP layout or the historic GP layout, which I believe they used last time. So it's shortened very much. There's a right-hand switchback which brings you back onto the circuit. I love this layout, Joe. It with the shorter track, it gives rise to a lot of intense and very close racing. We still have the same sections there that we are so used to. That turn 1, which is that very fast right-hander, was fantastic. That is still there, but instead of the long section there, the S section, which leads on to the hanger straight, straight after turn 2, you switch to the right, and that's a very tricky turn, by the way. And then you go down the back section of the course, cutting off quite a large section of the track, and you pick it all back up again just before where you would come from the historic circuit back into the main stadium sort of area. So a great layout. I really like it. I fancy that the drivers are gonna like this as well. But to see what I'm talking about, why don't we play our lap guide for the viewers?
Alright, we've got Amjad Yaman and the GSRC Skippy, so let's do a lap around Silverstone. Coming down to Copse, this is going to be a fairly fast corner, so don't expect a lot of passing opportunities unless 2 cars are fully side by side. There's a lot of paved runoff on the outside to keep you out of the barriers, but you'll lose a ton of time if you let the rear brake loose. As you drift back to the right, you'll set up for the Maggots-Beckett sequence like normal. But once you thread the needle for the first kink, you'll start slowing the car, then cross over to the left. Here's where we break off for the international circuit. This slow right-hander would be a good place to pass if it weren't for the crazy braking zone. Ambitious or desperate drivers might try it, but don't expect it to end well for either party. From there, the track gently kinks left, and you'll hold to the right to set up for the Abbey hairpin. This is going to be your next best place to set up an overtake, but once again, the curved braking zone will make it a tricky proposition. Still, it's a nice wide track for this relatively small car, so you should be able to give each other room to maneuver. The exit now leads us back onto the main course as we pick it up on the farm straight. The track will head over a small crest and underneath the bridge. There's a big lift as you enter this fast right-hander, so once again, watch out for that lift throttle oversteer. Hold to the right on the exit and brake hard for Priory. This is a more technical section of the track, but sneaky drivers can sometimes execute a pass amidst these slower corners. It's all about car placement and the element of surprise. Now, let the car drift right out of Brooklands and then get the rear to rotate through Luffield. Your best bet is to square off the exit to give yourself a good amount of speed for the front stretch. Without it, you and the driver behind might wind up in an awkward position entering Copse. Without a whole lot of power in these machines, Woodcote is going to be easily flat out. But if you've done it all right, we finished a lap around Silverstone. So that gives us an idea of the international circuit, which cuts off about half of the Grand Prix circuit. Quick correction from earlier, they raced the southern circuit at the finale last season, which doesn't use any of what we're, well, except for I guess that connector in the middle. They use that little part, but other than that, there's nothing that it shares with this course. Let's talk about the championship situation since we've got one round done. Robin Rosenvinge was the winner last round, so he is on 20 points. Then we've got Tuan Tran, only 3 behind. He joined last season partway through, so now he's got a serious championship challenge to contend with. Johan Vandenbelt, the fan belt, he is sitting in 3rd at 14 points. And then you've got Wojciech Potacek. He was one of our challengers for the championship last year. He's sitting in 4th at 12. And Piers Kaki, a rookie, comes in at 5th at 11 points. So we'll have to see what he holds here at this round. They've also got a teams championship that they are vying for, Richard, and it looks like we've got a few familiar names from last season and a few new ones that are vying up at the top in the team situation.
Yeah, it does. So in first place, we've got a team called 2B1 on 25 points. Then Two Stupid Dogs. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that is Wojciech Potacek and Vincent Brame in there. Two Stupid Dogs. They're on 22 points, 3 points back. Black Adder Motorsport, a well-known race team in a lot of different series, Joe. They are on 20 points. 4X Racing, also well-known to us. They're on 14 points in 4th place. And then in 5th place, we have a team called Passing Me By / Damaged Beyond Recognition. 1 to 9. I'm not quite sure what that name's all about, but they are on minus 16 points, which puts them on 9 points. All right, those are the top 5 in the team championship. So I guess we'll have a look and see how these teams do going into this race.
And Pass Me By and Damage Beyond Recognition as 2 different teams, actually, so they are tied in 5th. And apologies, we were not able to get a graphic there ready in time, so hopefully you guys were listening close. Now, this track we mentioned, Richard, is going to put up some interesting battles. I actually think I like this one better than the Grand Prix course. I'm sure heresy for some open wheel fans out there. But Amjad and I were talking about some of the difficult passing zones that this thing offers. There's some good braking points, but they always seem a little tricky.
Yes, they do. I want to tell you, I share your like for this track there. Of course, there's some really good braking points. I'm driving here with David Burns at the moment. If you see where David is now, this section of the course can be used as an overtaking point, and you do see a couple of overtaking places, overtaking maneuvers happening here. It's not the easiest place to overtake. The best place, of course, is going down into turn 1, and actually on the exit of that really fast right-hander. Is that Maggots or Beckett's? I forget the names of these tracks. They've got some great names here as well. That's a very good place to overtake. And also going down after you've gone through the crossover into the back section of the course, going down into that right-hand turn is a favorite place for overtaking. So a number of overtaking places available to these guys. Draft will come into play as well, Joe. There's some long sections here that with this car certainly will give us some draft opportunities as well. So all in all, a really nice lap. I'm pretty sure the guys will be happy.
I have no doubt, especially with a shorter lap, that it should provide some excitement, not only from the opportunities to try and get beside each other, but also with the fact that traffic will come into play much more than what we saw at Spa, where they had such long lap times. It was a long time before they reached the tail of the field. Only about minute 34 we're seeing for the fast guys out there in qualifying for lap times currently. There are going to be some tricky places. You mentioned Maggots and Beckett's being a heavy braking zone, but I know Amjad and he and I actually used to race each other in the Skippy, so we kind of have a bit of experience in this car. We both kind of agreed that is going to be very, very difficult to make it safe and clean if you attempt to pass in there. I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of ended in tears at some point.
Yeah, very possible. Very possible. And we, as I said, some of the overtaking zones are very tricky, and you need to be really careful. And this being an open wheel car with your wheels stuck out there, no protection, you could see contact. and some accident damage as a result of an aborted overtaking attempt. But I do notice, I just saw them having the finish of the qualifying. They are now getting ready to grid up. In fact, they are on the grid at the moment, Joe. So I'll hand back to you and we get ready for a start.
Well, on the pole, it is Tuan Tran. Then it's Johan Vanderbilt on the outside of the front row. Then it's Pierre Skaki starting in third, Potacek in fourth, and David Burns in fifth. Mikael Enstrom will round out the top six, Richard.
Joachim Lundgren in seventh, Marcel Seidel eighth, Martin Tilstra in ninth, Aki Helverante in 10th, Vincent Bremen 11th, Eric Laukel in 12th position.
Then at 13th, it's Bastian Huseman. Timo J. Ronco in 14th, Liam Quinn in 15th, and Nanad Ulip in 16th. David Sestella will start the race in 17th, and Lauren Murray in 18th, Richard.
Yeah, and do stop me if the race starts. Richard Colom in 19th place. 20th place is Stefan Schmidt.
And
Tony
the lights
Hayes,
are up.
21. The lights are green, so go for it, Joe.
There's the red lights waiting for them to turn green, and we are off and away of round two in the absolute beginners. It looks like Vanderbilt is going to lead the way, actually. No, excuse me, Tuan Tran did show up, so he was on pole. He took a while to get out there. Now they head down to Copse, and they are going to get single file pretty quickly up at the front. Everybody in back trying to find their position. Very fast corner if you're compromised on the exit, and I see a few cars that are going to lose spots as they get out of there slow.
And Wojciech Potacek has moved up one position from fourth into third place as they negotiate the right-hander. This is the crossover between the GP section and this track. This is what makes it the international track. So first place, Tuan Tran, Johan van der Belt, looks like he is in second place. Yes, Piers Cocky. Great job from Piers Cocky in third place. Wojciech Potacek behind. What's going on here? Am I with this? Yeah, Wojciech is definitely in third place. Piers Cocky is in fourth place.
We had some contact between Aki Helverante and who was that going off? Marcel Seidel. Oh, he's been having a terrible season. Had a bad race at Spa. We're going to watch the replay, and that was heading into the Abbey hairpin, unfortunately.
Ouch, yeah. Marcel there in the pits right now. Not a very good start to him for his season as well. Back to the action though. Van der Belt still there. Well, let's finish this replay first, Joe.
We just watched it. It looks like Aki just drifted out a little bit and they made side-by-side contact, although it's hard to tell from that angle if anybody was to blame, so we'll just have to consider it a racing incident for now. As they complete lap one, Tuan Tran still up in front. Johan Vanderbilt closing in with the draft, but he backs out before they get to Copse. Potacek still sitting in third with a big slide through that first corner. And as you mentioned, Pierre Skaki, the rookie, showing that it was not a one-off at Spa. He is up to fourth already here early in the race.
And David Burns, remember David had a very good race at Silverstone, the Southern Circuit. He's in fifth place at the moment and challenging at this stage for possibly that fourth position. He's in line at the moment there, Joe, but looks like he might be challenging Cocky in the not too distant future. Cocky in turn is on the back end there of Wojciech Potacek. Wojciech actually goes a little defensive there to cover the right-hand turn, and now that gives an opportunity for David to close up a little bit. Behind him, not too far back, we've also got Joachim Lundgren. They're all pretty clean up the front here, Joe, and I tell you what, very close racing at the moment.
Yeah, not a lot of space between our leaders. We've got a lead pack of actually, it looks like 7 cars that have broken away, so a very large front group here all battling for that top position. Interesting thing about David Burns, he was sharing his racing rig, which is in a cabin in like a shed in his backyard. Said the only problem, other than the nicety of having a place all to himself to race in, is that he sometimes get wasps and spiders. Where do you see a battle going on?
Aki Alvarante and the car just behind him was side by side going onto the front stretch. They still pretty close at the moment, although Aki has kind of won that little battle. And here comes another car.
Whoa!
Full speed. Who was that? That just flew by, Martin. That was Lorne Murray.
Lauren Murray clearly outbraking him into the corner and taking that 13th position easily over Martin. So as we head into lap 3 here, obviously Lauren is in a hurry to try and get up to the front just ahead of them. I see a little battle going on between Liam Quinn and Teemu Ronko. That is for the 10th and 11th positions. So right now, Liam trying to crack his way into the top 10 just behind him. Aki is threatening now as they head down into the hairpin. It looks like Liam is going to try to make the pass into the inside. Can he take him? Back around the outside. Teemu's got the speed, but he loses it on the exit. They're still going to be side by side down the farm straight.
Yeah, this is one of the overtaking zones I spoke of. Here comes the other one, and guess what? Teemu grabs it. Liam backs out there. Very tricky to try and make a pass into that right-hander because you're almost on full throttle going through there. Now they come into the left-hander. Now this section, you've got that hairpin that is very tight. Yeah, it seems like it takes forever for you to get around here before you can get back on the power job and get down on the front stretch, and you can lose a fair bit of time here if you don't get it right. So at the moment, these drivers are going well. I'm getting some information, Joe.
There's a battle for P1, but it looks like Johan had to back out of it. Tuan Tran still leading him, but the bad exit out of Kops for Johan meant that Wojciech Potacek is now right behind him, was not able to take advantage. They head into the braking for the Maggots-Beckett sequence. Let's see if anybody tries to make a move. No, everybody clean and single file in. Top 3 were starting to break away, but behind them, Pierre's Kaki trying to just hold on to these top 3. Here goes another run from Johan. The fan belt looking to the outside. It's going to switch back to the inside once they hit the braking for the hairpin. Can he outgun him down into the corner? Still side by side as Tuan is not giving up, but I think the fan belt's got it. You're right.
Yep, he's got it. That is turning out to be the best or the favorite overtaking position. But Tuan Tran has not given up. Tuan is only, a car length or so behind. So he's very much in it. Still a long race to go. Wojciech Potacek just keeping a watching brief, if I may make a pun there, on the 2 in front of him. But it seems as if Pierre's Cocky has joined the fray once again, Joe. He's right up with them.
Yeah, it looks like these top 4 have actually broken away a bit. David Burns is getting dropped. Here we are on board with Pierre's in 4th position as he looks at the top 3 heading down the main straight. So it's now 2 groups with those top 4 that we see, and then Burns, Lundgren, and Engstrom, the next 3 from 5th to 7th.
Yeah, looks like Lundgren and Engstrom, they are teammates judging by the colors of the car. They are now catching up to Burns, as you said.
Sorry, we've got a battle going on for 2nd place as Wojciech is trying to move around the outside down into the braking. This is a tricky place. We said it's going to be dangerous, but it looks like they managed to stay out of each other. Still, Tuan Tran holds on to that 2nd place somehow. That was incredible car control from both drivers.
Absolutely, and may I say, Wojciech trying to do it on the outside is never going to work, my friend. Try and grab the inside.
And he gets all kinds of loose into the braking for Abby. Just behind them, we've got more battles going on between Burns and Joachim Lundgren. But Burns was able to successfully defend his 5th place position. Joachim not giving up yet. Oh, he's looking to the inside on this very fast right-hand corner under bridge. And it looks like Burns gave that one up willingly.
Yeah. Burns strikes me as one of the drivers that plays a waiting game. He'd rather give up the position than try and tangle with another driver. That's smart driving, I guess you would say. But I'm here to tell you, David, get a bit of mongrel in you, my friend. Otherwise, you're going to keep dropping spots.
Definitely the difference between myself and Richard. He's more the aggressive driver, and I'm more the patient one, I guess. But our top right now, Johan van der Belt still leading. Tuan Tran is in 2nd, Wojciech Potacek is in 3rd, and Pierre's Kaki still in 4th. That's the order as they run here on lap 6. Now heading through Kops into the braking zone for 3 and 4 once again.
Yeah, and we've got a 45-minute race, so it's based around time, I guess, and we have coming up to the 10-minute mark here out of 45. So 35 minutes of racing left.
Let's go
here.
back to Joachim Lundgren. He made a big mistake down into Beckett's. This is allowing David Burns to get him once again. Looks like the patience might be paying off. He's on the outside as they head around these fast kinks. He's going to just be alongside him as they hit the braking for the Abbey hairpin. Can he outdo it? Looks like he gets better braking into there. Joachim trying to carry his speed around the outside. I don't think he's got enough because once more Burns... Wow! Where did that speed come from?
Lundgren actually got a better exit than did David, and he managed to carry that speed into the left-hand sweeper here and got the position back after losing it just momentarily.
I don't know where that launch of speed came from. It looked like they were about even out of the corner and just came out of nowhere. Joachim Lundgren in the top 5 once again, actually for the second lap in a row. I think it was last lap that he made that same pass in the same spot.
Well, let's go back to a battle here between Aki. Oh no, the battle has petered out. Aki into the pits.
So, pit stops already starting. We failed to mention, actually, that they should make one stop in this race. There you see Aki on the left side of the screen, and he's followed in. Who is that going behind him? Trying to see.
Liam Quinn. It is Liam Quinn going into the pits as well.
So they're electing to take an early stop. Wondering if this is going to help them, Richard, and get them out of traffic. Maybe they can leapfrog them later.
Well, not sure about the strategy, whether this is obviously an early strategy. It may pay off. We have seen all kinds of strategies being played out during the races at the other tracks. So let's see how this works out for them. Meanwhile, let's go and have a look back at the front, Joe, see how our leaders are doing.
It's still the fan belt up in front. Tuan Tran in second, Potacek in third, and Pierre Kocky in fourth. How we left them last time. So on lap 7, Tran still putting the pressure on. He has been staying right within about 3/10 of Johan and not letting him get away. Potacek's been up behind there as well. Oh, and Fanbelt goes wide, but he's going to have the inside of Luffield. Can he hold on to it? It's going to be a tall ask for Tuan to try and get the position this way. He tries to close the door on Potacek. Potacek doesn't have the run out of the corner, so they stay in line.
Yeah, great driving from them. And now we've got another, or maybe we'll stay with this battle. Tran trying on the outside. Yeah, not the best place to try the pass, not from the outside. I think he's just showing his nose just to give the fan belt a little bit of how do you do. Here comes Potacek on the inside of Tran. These guys have been doing this all race long. Now they're almost 3 wide here. Well, they're certainly 2 wide behind Johan van der Belt. Potacek goes into second place. Tran now being overtaken. He fights back. He tries to go to the outside, which could become the inside for the long run. Then into that kink there and then down to the hairpin. But he's covered. Potacek covers him by going to the outside there and sticking with that line, Joe.
Potacek, yeah, goes defensive and then comes back into line as they head to the Abbey hairpin. Whoa, Tran getting right up on him. Did he actually make contact there?
No, could be. No, I don't think so.
We're looking at Tran, excuse me, and see if we can get... Oh, yeah, I see a little bit of damage on his nose, on that front wing. So he might have made slight contact. Anyways, Potacek illustrating beautifully in Cop's Corner last time around why you don't want to go too wide through there. All the speed was lost for Tran, and that just sealed the deal with a very brave Potacek making the pass down into Beckett's. Now they come around Luffield one more time, back to that same place. Let's see if Potacek has got the speed and if he's going to try and challenge the leader of Johan van den Belt.
Yeah, indeed. And Pierce Kocky lurking behind them as well, Joe. Do not forget about that. One mistake from the 3 in front of him, and Pierce Kocky will have their position. Now, Tran lost that second position, and it looks like Potacek, Joe, is on the move. He is looking now at Johan van der Belt. He's tempting fate here, trying to go for 2 positions in 2 laps. But doing a great job, and Johan van der Belt knows he's there.
Potacek seems really brave. Twice now he's gone side by side into that corner. He took a look, but I don't think Johan gave him any opportunity to try and stick his nose in, so he wisely backed out of it. But that seems to be his favorite place. Something about what they're feeding him out in Central Eastern Europe. I'm not sure what country he's from exactly. He is certainly filled with quite a bit of guts in that cockpit.
Yeah, certainly is. And of course, we get the area that they're from, not the exact country. So it just says Central Eastern Europe, as you mentioned there, Joe. Here he comes, and he tries. Johan van der Belt, very good to that section. Hardly a twitch from his car. Potacek trying, going into the left hand, and now they come to the hairpin. This is not the area where you want to try an overtaking maneuver. He's got to get a good exit out of the last turn here, getting down on that front straight once again. He's not close enough to try a maneuver before they get to the end of the straight here, Joe. But certainly Johan van der Belt is in a battle here, and Potacek is the aggressor. He is definitely wanting that P1 position.
Let's stay with this. We had a bit of a battle for P12. That was between Lauren Murray, Stefan Schmidt, Martin Tilstra, and Frederick Neptune, but that is petered out. This is much more exciting up at the front as Potacek, once again, he keeps getting a fantastic run out of Kops, but Johan leaves him no option heading down to the next braking zone. And behind them, Tran still just keeping a watchful eye along with Pierre's Cocky behind them. I think you're right about Pierre's. He is just patiently waiting. He's been holding on quite easily, giving them some space, not wanting to get involved if a wreck starts to erupt. Now we ride on board looking back over the gearbox of Johan, and there we see Wacek making a little look once again down to the inside of Abby, but doesn't get a good exit out of the corner, and now he is going to be vulnerable to Tuan.
Yeah, Tuan was very close to Wacek, and he was having a look himself. So a little bit of a sandwich here for Wacek. He's trying for P1, but at the same time, he's got to keep an eye in the mirrors as Tuan Tran gets very close, and they go into the last corner. Coming up now, the hairpin. A great way to finish a lap here at Silverstone with a long 180-degree hairpin. And looks like Tran has kind of recovered from the overtaking maneuver that was put on him, and he wants that position back. He's all over the back end of Tuan of Wacek. Wacek goes defensive to cover the line into turn number 1 and gets away with it. That was a great run into turn 1 there, and of course Tuan Tran could do nothing about that, and he just had to fall in line.
It's the second time we've seen Tran try to go too wide through Kops and suffer for it. Of course, Pierre's Cocky didn't make a move on that, but wow, big slide from Potacek through that corner there. And he somehow manages to save it, but he's lost a lot of ground. He's now half a second behind Johan van der Belt, and here comes Tuan Tran with the run. But Wacek goes defensive down into Abbey, and it looks like Tran is going to elect to get back into line.
And here's a battle for P4. P4 and 5 here. David Burns being overtaken on the outside by Lundgren. He fights back, gets the inside line, has it, but it ain't over yet. Here comes Lundgren again on the outside. David Burns covering the inside there. Lundgren going for it. He's got his nose in front now. He's clear by a car length. Back comes Burns, coming into the right hand, and now they go to the left hand sweeper, and Lundgren has it again. David Burns now falls back into line. He's under threat again by Mikael Engstrom. He gets overtaken by both teammates and has to give up the position. Great battle going here just behind the leaders, Joe.
Engstrom showing exactly what we talked about in the lap guide, that if you can be sneaky, you can take a spot in those technical corners, and there we see Burns electing to get out of this mess and take his pit stop here on lap 12.
Yeah, and these are teammates, of course, Engstrom and Lundgren. Now they run one behind the other as they go into turn 1. Kops, I believe that is, and we will see if they can make any impression on the guys in front of them in the top 4. They're a long way behind, though, and looks like Pierre's Cocky, Joe, fallen off a little bit again. Johan van der Belt still leading this race, still fending off the challenges from Wacek, Potacek, who in turn has fended off Tuan Tran quite successfully as well.
I'm not entirely sure what happened to Pierre's. I didn't quite see, but he is a whole second behind Tuan Tran, as you mentioned. He's closing up a little bit in the braking of Abby, but once again losing the ground. I wonder if the draft was allowing him to hold right up on those guys and stay in this battle. Maybe somewhere he made a mistake and started to lose it. So, as we've watched battles all the way from 1st through 4th and now 5th through 7th, it's settling down just a little bit here as we're hitting about the halfway point of the race. 26 minutes left to go on the clock.
So here's a question for you, Joe. Now, do you prefer being the chased, or do you prefer being the chaser?
You know, I found that over time I've preferred being the chased, just because I'm one who likes to try and put in those laps, just focus on what's ahead, rather than trying to battle with the car in front of me. Now, as we jump back to Lauren Murray, he is actually concerned with the car in front of him, which is Frederick Neptune. This is a battle for 11th place, but can't quite get up on top of him. Instead, looks like Lauren has to worry about Stefan Schmidt behind him in 13th.
Yep, having a look at these guys right now. Stefan Schmidt.
Oh, I'm sorry, we got a battle for P2. Tuan Tran on the outside of Wojciech Potacek, and that was through Beckett's, and somehow he gets it done.
He did indeed, and now he makes sure of the position by going defensive slightly, and then tucks back into the normal line, coming up to the hairpin. Now he can set his sights on Johan van der Belt. Of course, Johan got a little break on them because of that.
Let's look at the replay of that pass. We just missed it. Let's see how Tuan Tran set this up. We saw just the tail end of it there. Let's see if we can go back a little bit farther. I'm guessing this started itself probably in Cops with a bad exit. Yeah, it looks like that's where it was. Down into the braking. Wojciech actually outbraked himself slightly, maybe? Oh, he got loose into the corner from them trying to go too wide, and Tran keep giving him just enough room to try and collect himself, got the better exit. Beautiful driving, well-executed pass from Tuan Tran to get himself back into that P2.
Yep, and they still have that little break, the three of them, on Piers Cocky. But I want to check in with a driver that we haven't seen for the moment. He's gone into the pits. I was going to talk about Vincent Brame and how he's not up there fighting as well with the leaders, but he's just popped into the pit, so we'll leave that alone for the moment.
He was one of the top gunners last season. In fact, wasn't he last season's champion?
Yes, indeed he was.
Yeah, so it's unusual to see him a little bit farther down, but I guess the competition has gotten that much harder. As we watch him take his pit stop, let me update you. Aki Helveranta has left us a little bit of information that apparently he has DNF'd because of what went wrong on lap 2. Same thing with Liam Quinn. Those were the two that made contact that we saw in the Abbey hairpin. We've jumped back to second position with Tuan Tran, who's trying to chase down Johan van den Belt, has only got up to within about half a second of our leader. And just look at our top four starting to stretch out as they've been able to gain themselves some space. Could this be where things settle down and guys start to try and play pit strategy with each other?
Yeah, I was just thinking exactly that, Joe. At this stage, if your moves that you have made have not been successful, and we're getting close to a pit stop, bear in mind we've about 23 minutes have already elapsed in the race. So now's the time to look towards those pit stops. Make sure you get a very good pit stop and get out there after the pit stop for the run for the second half of the race. As a further update, Joe, Marcel Seidel, his season continues to be bad for him. He's disconnected as well as David Costello. So looks like at least 4 drivers not in the race anymore.
Looks like Tran has really run down Van Belt. He's now within 3 tenths, but not close enough to attempt a pass here. I was trying to keep an eye a little bit farther down on some battles, but every time they start to peel out, and it sounds like we do have one with Engstrom. Where is he's in the pits, excuse me.
Yeah, both Engstrom and Lundgren in the pits, teammates, so they obviously working in concert. Out comes, it looks like Engstrom coming out first and Lundgren just behind him there. They will rejoin with a whole bunch of cars going past them into coming out of the pit area. And just a note there, Joe, this pit exit, I should say, has two methods you can use to exit the pits.
Yeah, that's correct. We could see that there's one where they could go off to the right or off to the left and enter the track a little bit earlier, but they should be about the same. You don't really gain much of an advantage. Meanwhile,
P1.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tuan Tran getting very, very close to Johan Vandenbelt, and he's not able to make a pass through Luffield, but closing once again down the front stretch. Has he learned his lesson? Is he going to try and make it too wide into Copse? No, he's going to stay in line, it looks like, backs out of it by the time they slow down for the corner. Going to try and set himself up for the exit, and just look at the gap that they stretched to third place Potacek. There he goes with a great run.
Yeah. Johan had a little bobble there, and that's given the opportunity to Tuan Tran. You could see a bit of weakness. Fighting back is the Vandenbelt on the outside.
Ooh.
He still got it. He squeezes him a little bit there, Joe, but he gets away with it. No contact. And that's just to say to Tuan Tran, hang on, I'm going to push you if you're going to try and push me.
And behind them, there was a side-by-side situation with Potacek and Kaki, but those two came out the same as they entered. Tuan Tran didn't quite have the door closed on him, but the Vandenbelt gave him just enough room, as you mentioned. So he is really making him work hard for it, but Tuan Tran putting the pressure on for that first position, still looking for his first win in this series. Can he do it today here at Silverstone? He's certainly looking like a contender for the championship if he can hold it in this top position until the checkered flag falls.
Yeah, and we should say that the racing was pretty clean. It's hard racing, make no mistake. These guys aren't giving each other a lot of room to work with, but that is racing, and these guys have not made any contact. Tuan Tran definitely a contender, Joe, for certain. In fact, I would say he's just got stronger. It seems as the races have gone on. Towards the end of last season, we could see him challenging for first position, and he comes back up now on the back end. There goes to the inside. He almost made contact there once again. Now, how can the Vandenbelt fight
he
back?
backs
He's
out
not
of it.
fighting.
Vandenbelt decides to give it up. I guess he decided that Tuan Tran is going to keep putting them in that risky situation. He wants no part of it and slips back into second. All this battling has allowed Potacek and Kaki to close up on the gearbox of both of these guys. Although Potacek had a bad exit, look at Kaki trying to go all the way to the grass to find himself some room. Now he's going to challenge around the outside of the Abbey hairpin, tries to outbrake him. He's well ahead, but he's going to have to get a better exit as Potacek comes back at him, and Potacek has the corner.
Kaki was actually balked by the Vandenbelt up ahead there. He could have gone in deeper, but he then had to brake so that he didn't, go full steam into Johan Vandenbelt's car, and that gave the opportunity to Wojciech to get back in and take the position back. But you're right, Joe. They are four drivers here that are vying for P1. Any one of these four could have it in an instant. One mistake from any of the four, and the rest will go streaming by. Tuan Tran is in the lead now. Two of them going to the pits, Joe. Tuan stays out and Kaki stays out, but the Vandenbelt and Wojciech go into the pits.
So that is going to be interesting to see how this plays out, especially since earlier was it Lundgren and Engstrom, we were wondering, pitted. They were the next in line, and actually they came out behind David Burns, who pitted ahead of them as well. In fact, Burns is one of the very early pitters, if I was not mistaken, so he is going to be our big yardstick on this to see where they come out in regards to David.
Yeah, correct. And of course, we also want to see where Tran is in relation to the Vandenbelt after this pit stop that the Vandenbelt has made, and then the one that Tuan Tran will make, because no doubt he'll be coming in. So, Joe, I'm going down the list here, and I'm looking at Vincent Brame right now. In front of him is Stephen Paul. So Vincent having a little battle there from what looks like the 12th position, fighting his way back up the field. He's been in the pits already, and now he's taken that position from Stephen Paul, and he's kind of on his lonesome at the moment, Vincent Brame, which is a little sad. I would have liked to have seen him up there battling with the rest of the guys, Of course, he is a teammate of Wojciech Podacek, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they are the Two Stupid Dogs team, not so?
I believe you're correct. And actually, he's not completely by his lonesome because Mikael Engstrom is just a little bit behind Stephen Paul. And remember, Mikael has made his stop already, so he is in contention. This is a battle for position between these guys, although I think Stephen Paul has not made his stop. No, I'm saying he has not made his yet. So he is out of sequence with these guys. He should disappear, and then it'll be down to Engstrom and Brame for that 9th position.
And where you find Engstrom, Lundgren won't be far behind. Yes, there he is, a little way off. Now you see Engstrom going for position there on Stephen Paul. Stephen, of course, still has to pit, so he really isn't in this battle. And here comes Lundgren now to try as they go through the hairpin. Lundgren gets a nice exit out of that there, but Stephen Paul hangs in there. You want to be careful here because Stephen Paul, dare I say, is kind of one of the mid-pack drivers, as are these others as well, but they seem to be a bit stronger than Stephen Paul. But right now, Stephen Paul saying, no, I'm not giving up this position easily. I want to stick with it for a while.
Joachim Lundgren attempting the over-under, gets a slightly better exit, but let's see what he can do on Stephen Paul down into the corners 3 and 4. He's going to have the outside, going to have to work hard, but he outbreaks him.
No, he doesn't. Now they come.
He comes back at him.
Yeah.
Wow.
They come back at him, and now they're going to run down. Now this is where it gets tight. This is quite tricky. That entry, the braking zone is deceptive down at the end here, Joe. So you can go in a lot deeper than you think you can. And then, of course, you can easily outbrake yourself here. Now they go in side by side. Lundgren has it at the moment. And Stephen Paul gives it up by the looks of things.
Lundgren, our action star of the day, manages to hold on to that 11th position over Stephen Paul, who has yet to pit still. We have a few cars up at the front who still haven't taken their stop. Tuan Tran, our leader. Bastian Huseman has not stopped yet. Pierre Kaki hasn't. Our first car who has stopped is currently Fanbelt.
Kaki's so close to losing it there on the crossover section. We might get that on replay, Joe. That was touch and go for Cocky right there.
Yeah, we're looking at now here on the replay. Car gets all sorts of sideways sliding through the corner, drifts it wide, but manages to hold on to it. Unfortunately, he is now a whole 2.7 seconds behind our leader, Tran, so he is losing ground.
Yes, he is. And he is in second position, but as you say, 2 seconds behind at the moment. Bastian Huisman has taken on the 3rd position at this point. Johan van der Belt is back out there, came back out in what was 4th place. So that puts him in a really good spot. There's a spinner out there, Joe.
Yeah, Huisman off track. He is one of their cars that has not stopped yet. So it looks like he's going to lose the position to Fanbelt, but he is still not taking his pit stop, so that wasn't technically for position. We're on lap 20 with 13 minutes to go. These guys are going to have to come in at some point soon.
Joe, I'm having a look at the look at the distance between Johan van der Belt and Wojciech Podacek now. They've both done their pit stops, and it looks to me like there's about 4 seconds difference. So
and Tran pits. Tran has pitted, so now we're going to have to keep an eye on where the fan belt is. He's actually, I think he's going to jump him easily because Johan is now coming down the pit straight, and Tran is still stationary in his stall. There we see the fan belt currently in 3rd. Now Tran starts to exit the pits. Where is the fan belt? Coming up to Cops. Oh, it's not. It's going to be a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Tran coming out level pegging now, just behind him. Let's see. So, no, that's Brian Comforto. Where's Tran? Tran's ahead.
By about a second, actually. Now, Johan still could pull the draft and start to close in. And Tran spins. Holds on to the slide.
Wow, that was close.
But there goes P1.
Yes, that is it. Johan van der Belt back into P1. Tran will be kicking himself for half spinning the car there. That was just, the tires would have cooled down, I guess. And he wasn't ready for the corner, and now the battle is back on again. Tuan a bit loose, even there going through the cutover, and Johan van der Belt easily got that position without having to fight for it. but the battle is not done. And I want to tell you, Tran is coming back, and Tran did look the more aggressive of the two before the pit stops, Joe, and it looks like that has started all over again.
Yeah, he is trying to get the back. Oh, wow, he outbrakes himself down into Brooklands. Let's see if he can gather it back through Luffield and try to regain that ground, but he was right behind him. Now, on your screens, it says this is a battle for P2. However, Piers Kaki has yet to stop, so even though he is our leader, we expect him to slot in behind these guys unless he's gained a lot more ground than we knew about. Tuan Tran, though, ruining his mistake, could have had that first position and try to get himself a gap. Now he's trying to regain it back. Just behind them, a little bit currently in fourth, that's going to switch to third soon, is Wojciech Potacek, about 4 seconds behind. So he is no longer in this battle unless these guys start to lose ground to him, with 10 minutes left to go on the clock. So it's in the dying stages, Richard. If anybody's going to make a move, it's got to be soon.
Yeah, certainly. Now, I'm having a look at the cars here to see, particularly Tran, if he's got some damage. I see a little bit of damage on his front wing there on the left-hand side. So that could be affecting his downforce going into corners. But doesn't look like heavy damage. Now he's, oh, wow, he's really taking it to Johan van der Belt. Not afraid to get really close and personal with Johan van der Belt into these corners, Joe.
And Kaki is in. Kaki heads for his pit stall. This means Johan van der Belt should take over the lead. Still, I want to pay attention to where he comes out. He could be battling with Wojciech Potacek for that final podium position. Tuan Tran still hassling the fan belt on every inch of track, just not letting him take a breather at any point around here.
Yeah, and of course, Tuan Tran momentarily had the position. He fought for P1 early on in the race, got it after a number of laps, Joe, hung onto it until the pit stops, but the battle between himself and Johan van der Belt has raged all race long.
They work their way around cops. Piers Kaki is heading out now, and it looks like he's going to have P3 pretty solidly ahead of Potacek, though Potacek could still gun him down. Johan van der Belt is there, we see still in lead as we switch to Kaki in third. And actually, we might be able to get Wojciech in the same shot, about a second behind. He could be closing. There you see Potacek.
Yep, I'm just having a look at that. Kaki came out just ahead of Wojciech Potacek. Wojciech tires are up to temperature, whereas Piers Kaki still has to get himself settled in for the next stint. So this is an opportunity for Wojciech to attack if he manages to get on terms with Piers Kaki. But Piers is showing a clean pair of heels at the moment. In fact, getting away from Wojciech.
Let's jump
not
back
the
to
other way
P6.
around.
We got a battle. This is Mikael Engstrom trying to grab it from Vincent Brame, and in fact, he's being double-teamed with Joachim Lundgren, his teammate, all over him as well. It looks like the exit goes to Engstrom, who has a nose ahead of Brame, now trying to defend Brame from Lundgren through Bridge Corner, and they're back to single file as they hit the technical section of the end of the lap.
Just for the moment, here comes Lundgren once again on the inside. Brame having to fight there on the outside. Now he will have the inside through the hairpin. Does he get away with it? Yes, he does. Under fierce attack by the partnership of Engstrom and Lundgren. And he manages to get away with that.
And Tran going for the lead, side by side, down into the corner. Looking a lot like Potacek earlier. He's got the inside. Can he carry the speed? Not quite. The fan belt holds on around the outside and carries his momentum.
Fantastic racing from both of these drivers. Johan van der Belt fighting from the outside. Here comes Tran again. He goes now to what is the inside briefly, but then will become the outside for this hairpin. Johan van der Belt into the braking zone, gets there ahead of Tuan Tran. Tuan Tran goes wide, gives him the room, and then looks to fight back as they head now towards Bridge. But this stage, Johan van der Belt successfully defending that first position. Here comes Tran again, goes to the inside as they go into the left-hander. fighting back from Johan van der Belt on the outside. If he can stay with him, he'll have the inside for the hairpin. These two have been driving this way virtually all race long. Fantastic driving from both drivers, but here it looks like Tuan Tran will manage to get away with it. No, he can't. They go side by side through the final corner, down the front straight away. Tran has his nose a little bit ahead, Joe, but Johan van der Belt fighting back with everything that he's got as well.
Side by side through 3 whole corners, gonna make it for, and they almost touched down into Kops, but it looks like Johan is the brave one into the corner, had the inside. Tuan Tran not giving up, still in the draft, aggressively battling and fighting, almost touching once again, getting moved all the way to the grass, down into the braking zone of Beckett's. Tran has the inside, he loses ground in the first part of the corner, out into the grass goes Van Belt, he loses room. Tran has the position now, can he come back on the exit? Not quite, but he's going to have the draft down into Abbey, Richard.
And Johan van der Velde brought it back from what seemed like a certain spin there, was out on the grass. Now he goes to the inside for the hairpin here, for the kink I should say. He's on the outside for the hairpin. Tran manages to outbrake him slightly. They go side by side. This is a repeat of the last lap, Joe. Johan van der Velde gets the better of Tran just for the moment as they go into bridge, and Tran decides to fall into line right now.
Back into Priory, this is where it kicked off last time, and it's the same place again.
Oh!
Big ol' slide from Tran, holds onto it, but doesn't have the speed to continue it down into Brooklands, and he has to fall in line. Whew!
I want to talk to these two after the race. That is some fantastic racing we're seeing right here. And you're watching it, folks, on the Global Sim Racing Channel live if you are tuned in. Yeah, Tran at the moment, Joe, he's got about a half a second gap now. He's decided to cool down for a bit because that was some awesome, intense racing.
Oh, cool down is the right word. Those tires have got to be screaming after the number of times those guys have been sliding through these corners. Tran's not done yet. He's starting to gain ground out of Kops, his favorite spot to try and make the move down into Beckett's. Is he going to do it again? Not close enough to try and get too wide this time. So Johan is going to lead the way. And we're not even on the white flag lap. We still have 4.5 minutes left to go. And behind them, it could be kicking off too. Yeah.
Joe, be at P3 and P4 not that far behind. They could become a factor with all the battling between the top two. It's given the opportunity to Wojciech, who's got the better of Piers Cocky, but these two are not that far behind. In fact, they seem to be catching with all the battling going on up front.
Tuan Tran taking a look into Abbey but has nowhere to go. Now they head into Bridge. We've seen him try to attempt to move down into Poiré twice, is Johan, he becomes wise to it. He blocks the way. Oh, and they make contact. Big contact, but both of them holds onto it. Is there damage on either car? Tuan Tran's wing does not look very good.
And Johan van der Belt's got a bent wing as well. This could have been from an earlier incident. Let's get that on replay.
Looking at the replay now, I figured that the fan belt knew this was coming. It happened twice. He held it inside. Unfortunately, Tran tried to stay to the inside as well, and the braking just wasn't enough. Just a bit of a tap there, and then a huge shunt into the right rear of the fan belt. But Tuan Tran manages to hold onto it. Now let's see if we can get a close-up of him. Maybe we can get on the rear wing of fan belt and look at that front wing. It is looking all out of sorts, and that is going to hurt his top end. Still, he's got the draft, and he closes in. There we can see, look at both sides of that wing now, looking like an upturned mustache of an evil villain or something there.
And here comes Podolski in the dying moments of this race.
Tran went off track.
Tran did go. Sorry, Joe, go ahead.
He actually went off track on the exit of the corner. That lost him a lot of speed. This could allow Podolski to come in. Sorry for cutting in there, Richard.
No problem. Piers Cocky and Podolski are a factor. Tran with a damaged car there is now can be considered prey for these other two drivers behind. They've caught up a long way. Johan van der Belt has got the little break that he needs to carry him to the end of the race perhaps. 44 minutes on the clock. We could be seeing the white flag very, very soon, Joe.
We're at 2 minutes. If they get down to 1:33 left, that is going to be the white flag. Tuan Tran definitely looking a lot slower as he loses ground on Johan. And here comes Potacek looking to try and grab P2 off of Tuan Tran. He is right up behind him. Tuan is going to be slow on speed with all the damage on that front end. He looks to the inside to try and stay defensive. Now he drifts back out. Potacek now tries the inside down into Cops. Is he going to be able to go too wide into here? We've seen him lose ground. And Tuan Tran backs out of it, gives him ground.
And
so
here comes
Potacek up
Cocky as well. Here comes Cocky as well. Tran doing well to stay in it. He fights back. He tries to go to the outside there for the crossover, but Potacek will have none of it. He outbreaks him going into the hairpin into the tight section there. Now they go left. Meanwhile, keep an eye on Johan van der Belt because he can't be too far away from a win here. But here comes Piers Cocky. It's a fierce battle here, Joe. 3 drivers, 1 position. That's P2. They all won it.
Wojciech all the way to the grass to try and defend. Tran trying around the outside. Ducks back to try and defend from Piers Cocky, who's trying to get himself onto the podium for the first time. Not able to do it. They exit down the farm straight. Johan van der Belt, he's got the diamond. He is running away like a thief with the win. And it looks like with 2 seconds clear, it's going to be Johan unless he makes a mistake. Meanwhile, the battle is going to be for P2.
Correct. I'm not sure how you can steal the win, but anyway, the battle is raging on. Potacek seems to have P2 locked up at the moment. Surely Joe must be the white flag lap now.
It's very close. 15 seconds left on the clock. White flag is out according to our leader. Is he going to be able to get it in time? I think he's across the line. I think this is the white flag lap. So 1 more to go. Wojciech Potacek starting to stretch away from Tuan Tran. He might have that second place sealed up. Now it's down to Cocky and Tran for third place.
Cocky, Tran very, very wide there, as did Potacek as well, abusing the track limit a little bit there. But with good reason, they are fighting for podium position. Here comes Cocky on Tran. Tran's got a damaged car. Cocky looks like he's got a slightly better exit out of that crossover. Now he goes, he loses a little bit of ground to Tuan Tran, fighting hard to stay on the podium here. Cocky coming at him now very hard. Meanwhile, Johan van der Belt running away with it. Looks like he's got the win.
Here comes Cocky
for P3, that is. He doesn't get it done. They still in it. Cocky to the outside. Gets a run on Tran. Manages to come side by side, but Tran fights back as well. Johan van der Belt still heading for the win. Potacek looking like second place. The battle is for the final position here. Back to you, Joe.
Tuan Tran managing to go defensive down into Poirier, holding off Cocky. It's going to have to take a last gas dive for Cocky to make it happen. He's not close enough. It looks like P3 is going to manage to go to Tran unless he messes up this final corner. But just ahead of him, let's go up to the lead. Johan van der Belt is going to win round 2 here at Silverstone. After a fierce battle, he worked hard for it and he earned it here for P1. Potacek takes second and Tuan Tran just a nose ahead. Here comes Cocky, but it's not enough at the line. Tuan Tran takes third.
And Piers Cocky got 4th position there. Fantastic racing. This is one of the best races I've seen from these top guys here, Joe.
Incredible stuff. David Burns managed 5th. Just a quiet race for him. Mikael Engstrom does get 6th, and Joachim Lundgren 7th. Those two were battling for position late in the race. Vincent Brame, unfortunately, slipped down to 8th. Not what we're used to seeing from Vincent, usually a top runner. Farther down, Eric Lukel is going to come home in 9th, and Bastian Huseman is going to run out the top 10.
Yeah, indeed. Very good race that was. We have to apologize to the viewers, Joe. We didn't get an opportunity to go to the mid-pack or the drivers behind and give them some airtime. There was just too intense up front.
It's just great battling through the top 7 positions. Those guys were fantastic as guys are having fun here at the end of the race, running into each other now that incident points don't count anymore. So we are going to close up for just a moment. We will be back, though, so this is just a short break before we have our driver interviews and the unofficial results. We're also going to have our upcoming races here on the screen, so watch those for a moment during the break. Don't go away for too long. Grab yourself a snack and come back for the final. Welcome back to Silverstone. We just watched round 2 of the Absolute Beginners Formula Neagle Cup, and oh my goodness, if you missed that race, after the broadcast is over, you need to go back and watch that one, because what a battle. In the end, Johan van den Belt came out with the win. It was very hard fought, though. He had to fight off Wojciech Potacek, who finished second, Tuan Tran, who finished third, and Pierre Skaki, who stayed in fourth for most of the race, so didn't hassle them as much. David Burns came home a quiet fifth, and Mikael Engstrom finished in sixth. Joachim Lundgren worked with his teammate to finish seventh. Eric Lukul came home in eighth, and Bastian Huseman finished ninth. Then Richard Frederick Neptune rounds out the top 10.
Yes, and in the mid-pack, we are now in 11th place, Stefan Schmidt. 12th place brought home by Timo Ronko. In 13th place, it was Lorne Murray. And we did see some battling between himself and Martin and Timo. Then Martin Tilstra came home in 14th place. Tony Hayes, very quiet run for him in 15th. 16th place, Ninad Ulep, who's a new driver in the series. 17th place, Stephen Paul. Vincent Brahim, extremely quiet run for him. One lap down now in 18th place. 19th place, Greg McInerney. And in 20th place, Richard Coulomb.
Then in 21st, it's Brian Comforto, finished a lap down. We're getting into the drivers that unfortunately had some trouble. Brett Trocine also a lap down. Mark Figueres 10 laps down in 23rd. Aki Helveranta in 24th. Liam Quinn in 25th. David Cicello in 26th. And Marcel Seidel, another bad finish for him, unfortunately, in 27th. We've got some interviews to do. First up, let's do our winner and talk to him about his battle, because certainly plenty we want to hear about. Johan, you gave us lots of excitement with Tuan there. What was your take on the incident down in the Priory?
Hey there. Well, I'm happy that I gave you guys a lot of excitement. The incident, yeah, I have to see it again because I reviewed it once, but for me it felt like I was on the inside. I had to brake a little bit earlier than normal to make the corner, to not track out or just, go off track. So I braked a little bit earlier, and for me it seemed like Tuan didn't anticipate that well. So he hit me in the back. Luckily the damage was big, but not race ending, so I could go on.
Well, before this race, you were third in the championship. This will help your standings. So between you and Tuan, it looks like there could be a bit of a championship battle, not just the fight for the lead of this race going on. Are you looking forward to fighting him all season?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like he's a really fast guy. He's a really amazing driver, but I don't want to rule out people like Piers and Wojtek yet, or even Robin when he returns, because those are also amazing drivers. And yeah, if you retire once or once have a bad result, like that will hurt you a lot in this championship because everything is so close. So it will be an amazing battle to the end. I'm sure of it.
Undoubtedly. Well, I'm sad to have to cut the interview a little bit short, but we do have a broadcast coming up in another series that unfortunately our director has to get ready for. So again, congratulations for the win. Go enjoy some champagne, and hopefully we'll see you up at the front again in the next races.
Thank you. Hope so. Hope so too.
That was Johan van den Belt, our winner today here at Silverstone. Up next, we have our second place finisher, Wojciech Potacek, and I believe Richard is going to be talking to him.
Yes, thanks, Joe. Wojciech, second place today. Congratulations. The fight in front of you between Tuan Tran and Johan van der Belt, that was amazing racing. The best racing I've seen in this series so far. But it did give you an opportunity in the second half of the race to catch up, because you had about a 3 or 4 second gap between them until they started battling.
Yeah, I did a small mistake. While I pitted, I took too much fuel and lost contact with Johan. And later I just deconcentrated myself and couldn't find a pace. So lucky for me, their battle allowed me to catch them and at the end overtake Tuan for second place.
Correct. The race was actually a race-long battle between 4 drivers, Johan van der Belt and Tuan Tran, of course, and yourself. and Piers Cocky was in there. Now Piers is new to the series this season, but certainly he has shown, Piers Cocky, that he's a worthy opponent for you guys.
Yeah, probably. From what I see, he was fifth in the last race, just behind me, and I think that today we all were, I would say, bunched together, driving in the draft, so it was pretty easy to catch up. Like, I knew that I won't be able to do such a fast lap as Johan did in quali or practice, but being within the draft helped me a lot, and I could stay in this group at front.
All right. Well, look, congratulations, Wojciech, on a second position there. That's good for you for the championship. We will love to see some more battles like what we've seen here today. That was great racing. Thank you guys for it. And we will see you in the next one.
All right. Take care.
Back to you, Joe.
That was Wojciech Potacek, second place finisher here today at Silverstone. Probably going to be another contender in the championship, I'm sure. Well, again, we're sad that we have to close up so quick after such an exciting race. I'm sure we could talk to a lot of people for quite a while, but we need to thank a few people and then log off so poor Amjad can get ready for the Indy 500 and the Lionheart Series. Thanks to Dennis Neagle, obviously one of the organizers of this league. Johan Vandenbelt, I believe, helps out with the organization too. iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, Behringer, and AverMedia, the software and hardware that we use to make these broadcasts possible. Thanks to the team today, Richard, Amjad, and of course Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and our upcoming broadcasts. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. Get a hold of us on social media, and we love to interact with our fans, so feel free to ask us questions or tell us what you think. Special thank you to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who both provide music for our broadcasts. You can buy Eric's music on iTunes and Spotify, and Casey's at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. Next race is going to be Montreal. That'll be Sunday, October 18th at 1:45 p.m. Eastern. That'll be another interesting one with a lot of passing opportunities. We also have upcoming races for other series on screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and I'll see you on the track.